my friendship pool.
Yeah, it's big and broad. You cast a very wide net. Now, you're always reflective on life. You've always been that way, and you seem to guide others honestly through sharing, your thoughts and your journey. So, has that always come naturally to you? That being able to just kind of sit down and be real, with people and share your musings or your thoughts? I mean, did you ever feel like you were ever stifled?
No.
As a younger person, ever?
If I was stifled at all, it was in my first marriage, but we won't talk about that today.
They can Google you and find out your story.
No, I don't know. I think coming here, preparing for this time with you today, which I so appreciate, there are a lot of stories I could draw from that brought me to now, experience I've had. And there were a lot of dark hallways in my life, if you will, that I had to walk down. But somehow I always came out into the light. So here I am. And
you're not afraid to share.
I'm not afraid to share at all, because I think in sharing one's life story, more often than not, gives insight to the other person.
Right. And there's a healing.
And that's something I experience a lot.
Exactly.
I'll just say, hey, boom, 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 and people say, you know what, you told me, blah, blah, and I don't remember that I said anything.
Yeah, and then you made some kind of...
In that moment, there was that connection, and whatever they were feeding me, I was giving back in that moment, not knowing that they were going to take that along with them and run with it.
Right.
So
which is
it's always
thing.
A wonderful thing to know that. I'm very humbled when people come back and say, you know what, wow, I forgot all about it. You know what I mean?
And that's very cool.
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
Yeah.
So do you want to muse up a little bit now?
I can muse up if you want me to muse up. I was like, let me tell you, to be true, it's like I have like hundreds of writings. So I was like, okay, what am I doing? What am I going to do? So I chose a select few.
Okay.
I still, and I decided recently, I have to get that book done or the books done, because there's so much that I have to offer to people, not from an egotistic perspective, but wisdom and story and truth. I find that a lot of people don't know who their ancestors were. They don't even know who their immediate ancestors were. They don't know anything about anything that makes them who they are.
Right.
That's really scary to me.
Yeah.
So, not that I am like, okay, talk about your family, but I just think it's important to know what made you who you are.
Right. The flower that blossoms now had to come from some roots and some seeds and some
and
soil.
All the ancestors weren't nice people, and they weren't gallant people, and they weren't beautiful or anything. But at the end of the day, we are the pinnacle or the point of them. We stand at the point of them, and then the next generation,
another point. It's a scaling the mountain of life, I guess.
Exactly.
So
okay.
Shall we begin? What are you doing first?
Well, let's see. Because today the museum, the Ground Zero, World Trade Center, the whole story of that we all
But this will air after. But yes, we are taping on the official day.
But today is the
May
official
15th,
day of the museum opening. So I thought about going back to some of my writings that were comprised out of something I titled 9/11, a running commentary, which was originally posted on Arts International website in those immediate days after the tragedy.
And I have one too about it that we'll share some.
So this is in response to my friend who was living in Milan, who had a loft in Tribeca. So we're kind of referring, because close to the incident, right? So we're kind of in our emails, we were writing back and forth, because she doesn't know anything, so I'm filling her in with everything while she's in Italy. And so I say, Kim, darling, thanks for indulging me in reading all my emails, hoaxes, forwarding of forwards, and things of a spiritual nature you've received from me since September 11th. One is September 9th, 2011. A new page of American history began that day when I wrote this email to my friend who was living in Milan. In New York, we kept telling ourselves that things aren't what they used to be. We'd say, when things get back to normal. We even tagged the enormous and insurmountable tragedy that occurred 9/11. A simple phrase that encompassed the enormity of our grief and incomprehension of what happened on that bright, beautiful blue sky morning in New York City that immediately turned to hell. 3 weeks later, I was down at the Frozen Zone on Greenwich Street in Tribeca. 2 of my daughters were with me. We immediately became part of the large crowd standing behind a police barricade and staring down 6 blocks to get a glimmer of the remains of the first tower. In the waning light of day, the sun began to drop quickly. I managed to see a black, smoking something sticking up out of the ground. It appeared to be not of this world, smoldering way down the street. It was an ominous sight, a foreboding one at that, resembling what I imagined a meteor, or is it meteorite, might look like had it crashed to Earth.
Yeah, that day was quite a beautiful day. I remember how crisp and
Right.
clean and that September.
It was such a contrast to
what was happening.
The horror.
Yeah. And actually, most of the September 11th since then have almost been that similar
that beautiful
sky.
day.
Yeah,
That beautiful, every day, that's true.
pretty much. I think maybe
Right.
last year or the one before it was